Hola. Okay, let's get ready to go back in our general session mode. Hi, people in the lounge. Okay, yeah, I know it's late. There's still coffee service outside the Safe Solutions booth, by the way. One thing that I forgot to cover this morning is inside the program at the bottom is the link for the speaker evaluations, right? It's bit.ly/LavaCon 18. And not unlike how they throw sardines to train SEALs to get them to perform, there's a $200 gift certificate to Amazon chosen at random for the people who actually fill out the speaker evaluation forms. We really, really, really want that feedback. So please participate, and then we'll pick a winner through a random number generator. Okay, we also have an event tonight after we do the last general sessions. Adobe is sponsoring a champagne toast welcome reception at the other end of the building, so we'll meet there. You're on your own for dinner, and then at 9 o'clock, there's a live storytelling event. So it's kind of like karaoke, but without music, and so that'll be fun. Now, so we get ready back into conference mode. On today's program, many of us who are doing structured authoring in a very specific silo, whether it's technical writing, tech support, or some other silo within your organization, we know the value of structured authoring. Oh, we get to reuse content. Isn't this cool? And yet we're the only ones in the company doing it. All right, so marketing, we could reuse and save money on translation. Everybody was doing this. So our next session, our keynote, is Don Bridges talking about advocating structured authoring throughout the enterprise. Welcome.
Thank you, Jack. Is audio working good? Yeah? Okay, perfect. So my name is Don Bridges. I'm with a company called Jana. I actually grew up about 60 miles northwest of here, a little town called Baton Rouge. And so it's kind of good to be back home, I'll say it. One of the things that we've done at Jana, and a plug to Oberon, if Oberon is in the room, is something called the Technical Information Managers Forum. And we do these at about 6-8 different locales a few times a year. And one of the issues that comes up is feedback. No. One of the issues is how do I go get funding for TechPubs? Does anybody ever had this? Nobody. All right. Thanks, Jack. You guys have been a great audience. And I think a lot of this discussion or a lot of what we'll spend the next 19 minutes talking about is what I've learned, what I've heard, what I've seen, what I have learned talking to others. I will mention that this presentation basically started out as a white paper. And I worked with a gentleman by the name of Paul Parada. Paul is sitting over here. And if you want to follow him on Twitter, he's at Paul K. Parada. Great follow and good insight. I myself am a really crummy follow on Twitter because unless you love LSU football, you're really probably not going to enjoy my Twitter follow. But back to the issue. Talking with Paul and with others at these Technical Information Managers Forum, one of the things that you hear is that TechPubs is invariably looked at as a cost center. And it's looked at as a silo. I've had C-level and V-level people tell me, oh, you know, and I will use this term and then I will cut it off. TechPubs, that's those people that use typewriters in the back. And kind of, you know, a very backwater, very those people. And you know, no one wants to be referred to as one of those people. So in the way that in a previous life sold software, in previous lives, we would try and go through and say, if you went to structured content, how much money could you save? And this was, of course, one of the big reasons that DITA was promoted, because of saying, okay, if I can go reuse content, I can go have translations and reduce my cost of translations, and I can save money. And have we all heard that argument with DITA? Yes, maybe. I see some nods. And I'm saying, okay, you know, I get it. But I think, fundamentally, the world has changed. I think the world has changed from 20 years ago, before there was a DITA, 20 years ago, is that right? Yeah, when XML really was just starting to be a thing, roughly 20 years ago. So, what has changed since then? And I think buyer behavior has changed considerably. And by that, people are looking at technical information before they buy the content. If you, certainly the sessions that I've attended earlier today, I've heard numbers 50%, 70% of end users will go and look at the technical content and use that as part of the sales process to go understand. There was a survey that Lightspeed did, and let me see if I can quote this right. 53% of prospective buyers review technical information to learn more about the product before buying, and that was from a Lightspeed survey of last year. So that didn't happen really that much 20, 25 years ago. Also, I think what has happened is that we now have these things in our pockets that my teenagers use to take photos, called smartphones. And we have gone more and more and more to a mobile world. And that's certainly 20 years ago. I don't know if there were mobile phones. If they were, they looked like huge walkie-talkies. So that has changed in the last 20 years. I think people have looked at, we are kind of in an information age where people expect the right answer to go address their problem immediately. This is maybe the Google phenomena of saying, if you have a question, let me go online, let me go find it. I don't want to wade through a 200-page manual. We work a lot with aerospace companies, and maintenance manuals for a 737 is hundreds of thousands of pages if you add them up. They don't want to go wade through hundreds of thousands of pages. They want to find that little nugget that they need to go address that problem, and they want to find it very, very quickly, and that's it, and then they're done. And then I think the fourth phenomena that is maybe different is the issue of social media. And I've heard that a lot of people will say, there are forums that pop up that are not created by the company to go talk about and address issues with your documentation. Does anybody have, and maybe a show of hands, have you heard of people that online are answering things that are completely outside your silo? Somebody's got to. Okay. And I've seen people tweet, and if they don't like your problem, they'll try it, and I've done it too. Hey, American Airlines, thanks for the 45-minute taxi around Dallas-Fort Worth Airport. So we go on these little rants. So I think those four things have really changed how information is accessed, how information is used, and so the backwater TechPubs as a silo, and we've certainly talked a lot about tearing down silos, bridging silos. I think that's changed a lot. So how many of you were in Amber's presentation? Great presentation right before. Very good presentation. And Amber talked about customer satisfaction. And customer satisfaction is being, what are your customers scoring? I heard, net promoter score and all these things. And at the end of the day, I would make the argument that technical information is a keen and critical point of the customer satisfaction experience. I've actually seen it quantified, and I'll, at the end of the presentation, tell you where you can get a copy of the report from Harvard Business Review. And let me see if I can get this quote right. Those with a higher, this is their quote, those with a higher customer satisfaction score, scores of 8, 9, or 10, purchased double what those with mediocre customer satisfaction, with those with a more satisfaction score. That was from 2014 Harvard Business Review. I can give you a copy if you would like to see it. But that is a very good way to go quantify it. Now, you may say, well, Don, why are you dismissing cost savings? And the reason that I'm dismissing cost, not dismissing, but saying cost savings aren't really where you should focus. Customer satisfaction is where you should focus. Why? Because it drives revenue. And if you go talk to your upper management, if you ever have the opportunity, and ask them how they are compensated, what they will tell you is that they are compensated by revenue. That is what's important to them. And if you say, well, what about cost savings? They'll go, yeah, that's nice. And sadly, that's their response. Yeah, that's nice. So Customer satisfaction is the way that you go drive increased revenue. So what I'd like to do is see if we can, is that showing up on the screen? Maybe kind of map out, what does the organization look like? And of course, and I'm going to break this down into both software and services on one hand and hardware on the other, and they're amazingly similar. Engineering is creating engineering data, whatever that looks like. And then you have a technical information development process that is creating manuals, user guides, things of that ilk. And then technical information may feed training, invariably does feed training, which is trying to portray concepts and procedures. And then you may have marketing that is maybe presenting the technical specs that people are looking at to go purchase the product. And then you invariably have some kind of a support group that is providing troubleshooting guides, customer support, either call-in, chat bots, things of these nature. And you may have some kind of a feedback mechanism if you have a portal that will do this. And the feedback may go back to, it may come from support organizations or may go directly back to engineering so that they can get feedback. If I go back and say, well, for those of you that are in a hardware world, how similar or how different is it? And the answer is it's amazingly similar. There are some differences, whereas engineering has the issue of manufacturing that they have to go deal with, and there's these things called MBOMs, or manufacturing bill of materials, and they're procedures that they use on the assembly floor to go manufacture the stuff that engineering has come up with. But then you have technical information development, creating manuals, parts catalogs, maybe schematics. You have training out there that is getting their information typically from technical information development with the concepts and procedures. You have marketing, still providing technical specs that people are looking at to go buy the products. And you have a service organization that's providing checklists and troubleshooting guides and maybe service bombs, service bill of materials. And you still have a feedback mechanism. So these are two very, very, very similar types of flows. And I guess what struck me in putting this together is saying, where is technical information in this process? And in both of these, you'd say, well, it's the middle. I sent out a tweet last week, is find out how your technical information development is really the quarterback. And that's very much how I see it, is to go, to go deliver the information, content. I see technical information development, they are the quarterback. And so I will circle back, what is the most important thing in your organization? And that is to go grow revenue. That is what C-level people, that is what D-level people are very interested in. How do you go do that? Well, and we've talked about it all morning and all day, is saying, I've got to somehow either tear down or bridge those silos, have a content model, talk with these actual other people, and be able to deliver a consistent information, consistent model, and basically break down the silos that you have. And how do you go do this? The way is with structured content. And structured content allows you to go have that interoperable data that will, if you want to use it for training, fine. And yes, is it going to work without a hitch? No, as Amber mentioned, it's tough work. It's very tough work. How is marketing going to play well with you? And the answer is they're probably not. But it's where you have to go if you really want to go drive customer satisfaction. It's where you want to go if you really want to go say, hey, how can I be a big dog in my organization? How can we go get the funding to do the neat things? How can we get the funding to go have the nice technology? That's how you go do it. Working with the service organization, that's where you go do it. We've also, talked a lot about chatbots. We've talked about augmented reality, and we've talked about virtual reality, and well, how does that all fit in? And my perspective is those technologies allow you to go have chatbots. Those technologies allow you to go deliver information in ways that you haven't been able to do before. So, tearing down the silos, critically important. Communicating with other organizations, critically important. Increasing customer satisfaction, that is the key to growing the revenue. Once you see the big picture, once you see, here's where we're all at from a organizational perspective, that is what allows you to go be a champion, to go do the things that you want to do. So maybe in closing, before we open up for questions, where do we go from here? And I would say that the first thing that you have to do is step up. As long as you're content to go be that person in my little TechPubs group, things probably aren't going to happen well for you. You'll be marginalized and minimalized. And I hate to put it that way, but that's what I see over and over. If you really want the leadership role, if you really want to have great things happen in your department, if you really want to go position your organization, you in the organization, that's how you go do it. It's saying, hey, I have a vision of how we can go over this. Is it easy? No, it's not easy. It's really hard. And because people are set in their ways, people have built their kingdoms. And so how do you have them win and you win? And that's going to be the challenge. What's the magic secret for that? No, Don doesn't know the magic secret for that in your organization. You're going to have structured content. I hate to say this, but Word and Excel and unstructured frame probably are not going to do it. Structured content is the enabling technology that allows you to go do this. From a third perspective is the key to growing revenue, how do you satisfy your customers? Understand what their needs are, what information they want, how they're going to access it, the things that we've heard earlier part of the day and looking over the agenda for the next day and a half. How do we go grow customer sat? Critically important. And then finally, as you make your way down this road, come back and tell us how you did. I'm sure Jack would love to have these kinds of presentations a year from now saying, okay, well, here's what I went back, here's what we achieved, here's how we're marching towards this path. Oh, by the way, you're not going to be there in a year. You may not be there in 2 years, and it's a horrible, with revenue cycles the way that they are, it's a difficult thing to go do. But I will tell you that I've seen it time and time again. I think Paul has seen it in helping me put together the white paper as far as saying, okay, it is very achievable, it is very doable. So I guess in closing, if you would like to get a hold of the white paper that this presentation is based on, I have 2 versions of the white paper that I'm more than happy to present to you and give to you and read, and there's really not a sales pitch in it. If you want to go access it online and download it offline, it's PDF, but there's the URL for it. And with that, and 4 minutes left, any questions?
Do you have the white paper in your booth?
I have the white paper at the booth. All right. And those of you that have seen me present before, I can really make it worth your while, and that's all I'm going to say. I can really make it worth your while to go ask a question. Do we have any brave souls?
It's late in the day, Don.
It is late in the day. Okay.
Here we go. Hold on. Wait till I get there, please.
So without even asking the question, I do have to ask you one question. I live in New Mexico. Would you prefer lavender or chocolate? Lavender, chocolate's your answer? Okay, chocolate it is.
Sure.
I told you I could really make it worth your while to ask them. So this is yours. It's Santa Fe chocolates.
Thank you. I have a feeling that I feel like you were talking directly to me. I'm so into this, and one of the key that I would see is to get as a facilitator the VP of sales. Now, do you have any advice on how to get this guy's feelings?
Well, so I think any VP of sales, if you said, I would like to talk with you about a way that we can go grow revenue, a VP of sales is going to be very interested in this topic. I guarantee. But invariably, it is a B-level or C-level discussion. Most people are intimidated by going to the mahogany row. And I'm saying, yeah, I know it's tough, but at a manager level, you can be a facilitator, but you're going to have to go up and have that champion that's at a very high level and show him the Harvard Business Review study. You know, show him the light speed study and say, you know, this is not Don making this up. These are studies by well-known organizations. So, good. But please, chocolates. Yeah.
All right, thank you. Round of applause.
You got to go ahead, Mr.